Check, 1, 2. Is it like a pitch? Like a...
Yeah, cash. Apparently.
You must have
I've asked all you guys for money, so call me up.
I sent you several Walmart Green Dot cards and a couple of Apple gift cards online. Didn't you get them?
So what do you need?
I don't need anything. Somebody's sending emails. It's some, who is it? MM9460?
Don's running a little short. He needs our help.
Well,
Well, this one isn't that. This is,
send gift cards or something, or?
no.
your age era.
It's, and I responded, but it wouldn't go anywhere. So apparently they got it blocked.
I did too. I'm having my email forwarded to my.
Okay.
It's too hard to keep track of the two, so I have it forwarded. So I can't click on the fish thing.
Please spare a minute to
Without
assist
being a
me
big
in
pain, so-
completing a task.
Oh, yeah, so they want you to respond to that, and then they'll know then they'll start getting after you. They'll ask you. So if you look, if you hit Don Kelly,
Oh, okay.
I would never say
Gary's gone
regards
today.
to Don Kelly. I think
He's in Arizona.
I mean,
But I thought maybe that was just your stock email, answer. I didn't know.
Deb isn't getting these guys.
yeah, I'm sorry about that. I guess they're all over the county. Yeah. Okay, welcome everybody. You got an email from me today?
Yes. I did.
Raise your hand. I didn't send any, just FYI.
They even called me off lunch for it, Don.
But if you do want to send me gift cards, that's okay too. Yeah, so just ignore those, please delete them. Welcome everybody to the Sarpy County Board of Equalization meeting. It's Tuesday, February 15th, 3:03 p.m. Brass opens meeting acts on the north wall of the boardroom, and we'll hold the meeting in accordance with those. We've got 4 of our 5 commissioners present today. Commissioner Mixon is not going to be here. We have our county administrator, Dan Hoynes, our county clerk and register of deeds, Deb Houghtaling, our assessor, Dan Pittman, and our treasurer, Trace Jones. If you would, silence your cell phones and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, 2 items on the consent agenda today.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Dave, did you hit your,
Just came up.
okay, very good, all right.
Mine shows Angie needs to second.
Hold on.
Ah, there we go.
Right, okay, there we go. A's for, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Thank you. 2 items on the regular agenda. First item is 5.1 tax corrections 16944 through 16962. Dan Pittman, County Assessor.
Good afternoon. There's several on here, and most of these are either homestead exemptions or things that we did before the Turk. And I'm not sure if you have any questions about any of these. Some of them are kind of large.
Questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Klug, second by Commissioner Burmeister. Discussion? Please vote.
A's for, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Okay, 5.2 is Form 451 Exemption Application for Bellevue Community Church, parcel 011611423. Request for waiver. Patrick Johnson, Bellevue Community Church.
I'm not sure if anyone's here from this one and the next one. They're both waivers. I can tell you that what they have in common is they both filed on time, but they filed a 451A, and they needed to file the 451. And so even though they filed on time, I had to notify them when I was reviewing them that that was the wrong form, please refile, and they did. And so they're simply asking for a waiver so I can go ahead and act on those and get those before you in the weeks to come.
Okay.
Thanks, Dan. Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Klug and a second by Burmeister. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon, motion carries.
And 5.3 is the exemption application for Thanksgiving Lutheran Church, 011577791.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Klug, second by Burmeister. Discussion?
Just one question, Dan. I'd looked over the information on this, and it looked like they had filed, they said they were tax exempt.
This is Thanksgiving Lutheran?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have the church, and then they bought a little, like a strip mall sometime back, and for the longest time, they've had a tenant in there that was a rent-paying tenant, private individual, and now that person's out of there, so now the church controls the whole building and uses it for religious purposes.
And they didn't have that filed in time.
No, they actually had that. They thought the 451A would be fine, it would cover everything, but because there's a material change to the record, that means the percentage of exemption used to be, like 75%, now it's 100%.
Okay.
They had to use the 451.
All right, thank you.
Right.
Any other comments, questions? Please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Okay, all agenda items have been addressed as published. The Board of Equalization is adjourned. Okay, welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting, 15 February, 3:08 p.m. All commissioners except Commissioner Mixon are present, and we have Dan Hoynes and Deb Houghtaling assisting us on this meeting. Commissioners, administrators, announcements, and comments. Commissioner Warren.
No comment.
No comment, thank you.
None, thanks.
Dan?
None, sir.
Okay. Just one comment for me. Just again, saw the emails on the core values thing. Thought that was really a good event, and appreciate all the work that went into that. And congratulations to all the award winners. Okay, that brings us to the consent agenda. We have 6 items. Are there any items any of the commissioners want to see moved? If not, motion to approve is public.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Okay, on the regular agenda, 5.1 is Resolution 44 awarding low bid for the Buffalo Road asphalt overlay, Highway 31 to 180th Street project to Public Works, to Constructors, Inc. in the amount of $1.3 million and change. Beth Garber, purchasing agent,
Thank you,
Sarpy
Chairman.
County.
On January 18th, 3 bids were opened for this project, the Buffalo Road Asphalt Overlay, Highway 31 180th Street. For the Public Works Department, after review, it's recommended the bid be awarded to the low bidder, Constructors, Inc., for $1,348,999.48. The high bid was $1,632,687.04. The engineer's estimate for the project is $1,750,000, so this is lower than the engineer's estimate. The county has submitted the project into MAPA in 2022, and it's estimated that that funding decision will be made in spring of 2022, but it's recommended that we proceed with this project. Public Works and Administration are currently working on an asphalt overlay 5-year plan, which they will ask your input for as we move forward.
Questions for Beth?
And proceeding won't negatively affect MAPA's funding decision.
I would say no, but I would want to know, verifying that, yep.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Burmeister, second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Okay. 5.2 is Resolution 48, County Bridge Match Program Agreement with the State of Nebraska. Going to use that money on 2 eligible bridges that Scott Bovick, Deputy County Administrator, is going to tell us about.
Thank you, Commissioner. The board remembers a couple years ago you asked the County Engineer's Office and Administration to work on a prioritization of the 85 bridges in Sarpy County, and so we completed that a couple years ago, and then we've been working on the plan to address those bridges, especially the top 20. These two bridges that we're talking about today are ranked 4th and 7th worst in the county, and they're located down on 138th and Buffalo Road. What you're approving today is an agreement with the Department of Transportation. We did submit these two bridges for County Bridge Program match funds. That's a competitive process that the state has to replace rural bridges or remove them or replace them instead of with a bridge with a culvert. And so we were successful in getting that funding. It's only $200,000. It's $100,000 a bridge, and this project is fairly expensive. But as the County Engineer's Office and us looked at what the best thing to do in this area is, we did come up with an alternative design rather than replacing both bridges. So you can see on the slide above that Buffalo Road would from 138th Street proceed directly west and have a new perpendicular access point to Highway 50. There is some expense in acquiring right-of-way and building that realigned road, but what it does is it allows us to remove one of the bridges and not replace it. So that would be removed from the county's inventory of bridges and remove any maintenance from that. County Engineer's Office, Denny's been working with the most impacted property owner there, Dwight Trumbull. He owns the property that will cross, and wanted to, so there's been some of those discussions. The other property owners will continue to engage, and we likely won't need right-of-way from them, so it'd just be more of educating them about the benefits of this project. It's maybe hard to read there, but we do have a timeline that projects us going out to bid on these bridges by the end of this year for construction in 2023. And I believe under the match program, I think we have to have the funds spent by 2024. So again, you know, a good project trying to address Bridge 4 and Bridge number 7. And I'm sure me or Denny would be happy to answer any questions you might have about these.
Does the railroad have any kind of incentive to close crossings, on-grade crossings?
So that looks like a railroad crossing, but that's actually the trail.
Oh, okay.
The
All right.
Mopac Trail.
It's an abandoned railroad, isn't it?
It's an abandoned railroad, yeah. So that would be an at-grade crossing. I will tell you that, you know, as Denny and I have looked at our top 20 bridges and concerns, we've been able to make progress on some of the railroad crossings. And the next agenda item we'll talk about is a good story to tell about how to work through those.
Questions for Scott?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Klug, second by Burmeister. Discussion? Okay, please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Okay, 5.3 is Resolution 54, which is a supplemental agreement with Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway and the state of Nebraska for project CN 22-842 for improvement to the railroad grade crossing located at Capehart Road and 228th Street. The most dangerous crossing in Sarpy County.
Not for long. The board's familiar with this project, 220th and Capehart. If you can look at the bottom of the screen and look at the red line, that shows what the previous grade was, and so that grade ended right in the railroad crossing. And then if you look to the triangle to the north, there's a sight distance issue there for vehicles that were stopped. And so as the board knows and Denny knows, county engineer, during winter, people would hit that and they'd slide through the railroad tracks. The sight distance wasn't good. And so we've been embarking on this project, and what you see in red is work that's been done. We hired a contractor, got a very favorable bid to go out and do the grading work to get us to the green line, the green profile at the bottom of your screen. And the yellow work is what's remaining to be done this year. But what's in front of you today is an agreement with the Nebraska Department of Transportation and the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railroad, where they, Denny and I worked with NDOT, and they are going to fund 95% of the safety crossing features that you see to the right. That's about a $515,000 cost and is really a benefit to this project. The county had budgeted about $1.3 million for this project. When all is said and done at the end of this calendar year, the county's total cost will be about $600,000, and the NDOT and railroads costs will be about $515,000, $550,000. And so, great project. You know, we've really made an effort to continue to work with NDOT and try to find partnerships and help have them help us on projects where they can. So we really appreciate their support on this. And again, I think the timeline is to have this completed by the end of the year. Burlington Northern will actually do the work. They do their own work in-house, and so we expect them to shut it down for maybe like 4 weeks or something to install these safety features, and then it'll be complete. So happy to answer questions about this project or agreement.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Warren and a second by Commissioner Burmeister. Does this have the feature like the railroad crossing on Giles, so you can't maneuver around it down?
I think they're going to have the
Quiet.
metal gates so that you can't get through them.
Yeah, what do they call that, a quiet something?
Well, it's not a quiet zone,
Okay.
but it'll have those similar safety features. You know, quiet zone is where the railroad, there's
Yeah.
enough improvements that they can't, go their
around
horns or
them.
whatever. So.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Okay, 5-4 is Resolution 56. Legislative bills that are going to be opposed by the county board this year down at the legislature. Dan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I gave Tim and Caitlin the day off today. We've talked about a lot of these, and nothing really earth-shattering, but very important. It's a list of 6 bills. I did list the LB 921. That's the what I'll refer to as a draconian. The county now has to house state prisoners. The effect of that is, again, just for the information. Currently, our unfunded mandates are $9.1 million. This would add another $4 to $5 million on top of that. Ryan did go down and testify against that. Certainly a high priority bill for us and NACO. The rest of them are pretty self-explanatory. There's 6 of them. I did mention to you in my briefs with you all that you don't see any tax-related bills here. That's intentional. We're working with Tim Gay, NACO, and others, and there may be something come up on those, but there's nothing that they want to be very focused when those come up and be able to react. So hopefully we'll have the time to get it back to a full board. If we don't, then we'll communicate individually and let you know. But would ask your support of the resolution.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Burmeister and a second by Klug. Discussion? Thanks for putting those together through their team, and Dan, appreciate it. Please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Okay, this time I'd like to invite Andrew Rainbolt, our Executive Director of Grow Sarpy, forward to give us the annual report.
All right. Make sure I'm going to do open up the right one here. All right. Good afternoon. Yes, Andrew Rainbolt, Executive Director of Grow Sarpy, and last year we changed our name from Sarpy County Economic Development Corporation to Grow Sarpy. But same group, doing the same work. And my intent here today was to kind of we're up in front of you to try to do every quarter to talk about what's going on in the county. This is kind of our annual victory lap, and so I'm just going to focus on specifically what Grow Sarpy accomplished over the past year. I've included the economic indicators that we have for the county and for all the cities. I'm not going to go through all of that today unless you have some questions for that. Although I will point out very quickly the one not great number, the rest are all really, really good, is our labor force statistics. We're down to almost 1% unemployment in Sarpy County specifically. Obviously, we're part of a greater labor market, but basically, I take away that pretty much every able-bodied person who wants to work in Sarpy County is doing something. So it doesn't leave us a whole lot of slack to market to new employers. and it presents a lot of issues for folks that want to expand. I just got invited to a meeting while I was sitting here with a company with the headline, we need to look for more workers. So that's what we'll spend a lot of 2021 on, or 2022, excuse me, I'm sure. But I'll scroll through that and go to our last page here, kind of our a progress report, as we call it. And so in 2021, we landed 6 projects. We had the major expansions at Facebook and Google. We landed a new Home Depot warehouse, which is 50,000 square feet off of it's Valley Ridge Road there, north of Cornhusker, just off the interstate, and a new building built by White Lotus. R&R built their 4th and final building of this development off of Highway 50 and Gold Coast Road, so it's another 250,000 square feet that they've got on the market at the moment. Our big employer that we landed in this last year is a company called FSC Edge. They are kind of a technology support, but they were going to have about 625 folks on the old Hay Needle, I think American Red Cross call center building off of Chalco Parkway there, 138th and Chalco. That is a support project for the U.S. Patent Office. So they'll be hiring a number of folks out there who will be running some kind of support for folks looking to get their patents. So that's kind of takes up a big chunk of that 820 new jobs you see there, and the data centers take up a big chunk of the nearly $1 billion in capital investment we got this year. So the last project there is Guardian Bandsaw, which is a smaller project that rented some space out in Papillion off the interstate. They are a manufacturer out of New Zealand. They make bandsaws specifically for the meat production industry, and so that's growing like crazy around here. So I think they wanted to come in and set up a local shop so that they can get more of that business. So kind of follows the model that we've seen of other places. Like the example I always use is I'm gonna say Gavilon, but why am I blanking on them? Off there, they came over with Kloss from Germany, and they make stamped metal products, and so they followed that customer and built a new warehouse, and hopefully we'll have another expansion out of them pretty soon. But as far as our project pipeline goes, we had a good year. In that front, we had 35 new-to-market projects, which is fairly typical for us over the last few years. We worked with 6 existing employers on expansions. We had 4 prospect visits, which is a little down for us this year, but kind of not to expect, or somewhat expected, but still some lack of travel there from a lot of people. We did 40 BRE visits, so those are specific visits where we go out and meet with existing employers. We had a goal of 50. We continue to find it kind of tough to get into some of those businesses. People sometimes think we're selling stuff, so but we're just really going in there to try to figure out what they're doing and how we can help, and want to keep our data up to date, and then see if there's anything we can do for them. But we're taking on some other one of the things that we're trying to do to alleviate that is partner with governmental entities such as this. We have a partnership with the city of Vista, so that maybe they'll be a little more inclined to meet if it's us and the city coming in together to kind of talk about things in general, and then we can still get some of the information we need and see opportunities that way. And we had 35 business assistances, which are somewhat general, the things where we do something for existing businesses or prospects that doesn't really amount to a whole project, but we've got them some information or helped them in some way. And that's probably an undercount of that because I do a bad job of recording that kind of stuff. And then on the, excuse me, on the last one there, business interactions, this is actually, you can see a breakdown of our opportunities there. We had a lot of manufacturing projects this year, which is fairly typical for us. Our warehouse distribution is the second one there, and we continue to see a lot of interest in that. I will say probably what we're seeing most recently, the most activity is national developers that want to come in and buy ground and build more spec warehouse. We've had a few developers, specifically R&R, on the Highway 50 corridor that's had a lot of success. We've gotten on people's radar that we're a good investment for that type of facility, and there's a lot of demand. So we've got a lot of people coming in and wanting to build bigger and bigger spec warehouse. And I've said this before, but that was something we were begging for 5 years ago, and we've got it, and now it's we've kind of in the opposite spot where now it's like, all right, I wish we had a spot that was ready to develop, that an owner user, somebody who's going to build their own building and own it and function out of it, could come in and build it, because that's the product that we're really lacking at the moment right now. We've burned through so much development ground, which is good, but we're back to a spot where we don't really have a go-to site that somebody can come in and develop in a tight time frame for their own use. Obviously, the sewer project is going to fix that, but for over the next year or two, as we get to that point, I think we're probably going to miss out on some projects that we could have otherwise landed if we didn't have those sites ready. So once we get back to that spot and open up more ground for industrial development, I'm sure we'll have other bites of that apple. But in the meantime, I think we'll continue to land projects in those spec buildings. So, you know, a lot of these buildings are 185, 250,000 square feet, multiple bays, so they can fit either a number of smaller projects or a few bigger users. So that's a great product to have, and like I said, something we haven't had in our market before. So I think over the next year or two, that's something we'll continue to land. Just a few quick other notes. At our annual meeting last week, we had a great turnout. We had about 200 folks out at Embassy Suites, and Commissioner Klug and Commissioner Kelly, I saw you guys there. Thanks for coming. We had two awards that I'll point out real quick. We honored Oxbow Animal Health for their commitment to kind of being a pioneer on Stram Road. Again, we kind of tried to point out how we built some infrastructure out in that direction, and it was quickly built upon. So their investment kind of helped lead to, and the investment obviously by the county in building roads and sewer really opened up the rest of that area. So. And the other one was Sarah Hansen, who is a workforce development person with Turner Construction. So probably, you know, go back 5 or 10 years. Not a lot of construction folks had an on-staff workforce development person, but that's kind of the nature of the situation that we're in. We've worked with her over the last couple of years, and she was really instrumental in our construction safety kits that we did last year. We delivered about 1,000 construction safety kits that were kind of branded with a lot of our member construction companies, and the whole idea is getting kids at the middle school level who are getting into some of those hands-on classes to consider a career in the trades. So that's kind of all I wanted to touch on. Happy to answer any questions. You know, I will also say, sorry, I forgot to mention, going forward, we're kicking off kind of a visioning effort that we've hired a consultant to help us with, to kind of look at that Highway 50 to I-80 corridor there and say, okay, where are we going from here? So we'll be working with the county and specifically Papillion on that. What do we want, and how do we open that up? What are the next phases to opening up that area for development and something that we want and makes sense for our community. So we'll be kicking that off here in a little bit. I think that's it.
Thank you. I think one of the things Commissioner Warren and I learned last week is, you know, when we first laid down the blueprint for the sewer agency, you know, it's about 4 years ago now, and we were looking at development trends, and then you come here today and you kind of highlight the fact that the most likely place for development is where we're going to have the least sewer infrastructure. So I think, you know, we really need to take a hard look at that Buffalo Creek area, because if that infrastructure goes in, that will open that whole area out there. We're a little bit committed right now, just getting the stuff that we've already earmarked done, but I think that's going to get a real favorable look. And so I would just suggest to you, when you talk about opening up areas west of Highway 50 and south of the interstate for development, that you include the cities of Gretna and Springfield in your coverage.
Yeah, we will. We will, yes.
Because they all have a pretty sharp eye on that area for development as well.
I think we've got a kind of an internal kickoff meeting before we go out to the communities, but I think we'll kind of break it off into phases of a phase 1, a phase 2, and a phase 3 of what we think, how it'll happen. But then I'll also mention, I was very excited to see at the last sewer agency meeting the inclusion of Bellevue and the upsizing of that end of the pipe as well, because we've got interest and we've got need on that side of the county too. So I think that'll be a wise investment.
No, that's a good point. I just wanted to ask you a question real quick about the data center, really, for the patent agency. Is that, you said they were moving into an existing facility that was used, but how big is that facility?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. It's a building that I know Hay Needle is in. I think American Red Cross had some folks in there as well.
So it's a pretty big building.
Yes, so it's out in the Chalco Valley Business Park, just east of 104th Street off of Chalco Valley.
They haven't started yet, right? This is just,
I think they've got jobs posted
Okay.
right now, so I think they're kind of in a ramp-up
have
phase.
they done like a formal ribbon cutting or anything yet, or?
They haven't. Josh went out there with Bruce Fountain from the city of La Vista to kind of do an informal meet, but they've got a website up. I don't know that they've done any kind of formal meet. I think the space has been empty for a year or two, so they've probably got to do a little tenant improvement, I would imagine.
If it's similar to the IT contracts that I'm familiar with, these are long-term and large dollar contracts that bring in high IT skilled individuals. And you said 640 some jobs?
625, I believe, was their number, yeah.
That's a great get. So, most people don't even know that this is flying under the radar, but 600 some good jobs is it's a big deal.
Yeah, we were competing with Oklahoma City for that project. So I think the contractor who was competing for it had to choose, was he going to submit a bid for Oklahoma City, or was he going to do a bid for Omaha?
Well, if there's some, event that we can support, let us know. But that sounds like, short of Amazon coming here, that's probably the second biggest number I've heard.
Well, we'll push on that, because I think when you've got that many folks you need to hire for in this environment, you need to get as much attention as you can.
Yeah, just tell them don't come out to the base and poach on my employees.
All right.
I appreciate that.
All right, no problem.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
Okay, I look at the commissioners here and get a little guidance here. We can do the executive session now, or we can just put the board in recess and do the Board of Corrections and then finish up with the exec session. I just think might be best to go that way, if you guys agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead at 3:33 and put the Board of Commissioners into recess, and we'll come back and finish up after we do our Board of Corrections. So let's reset for the Board of Corrections.
Okay, give me 1 minute here.
Okay. No hurry.
Okay, we're good.
Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Board of Corrections meeting. It's the 15th of February. 4 commissioners present and our administrator and clerk. The Nebraska Opens Meeting Act rules are on the north wall. And we'll get started right away with the agenda. The first item is 3.1, which is the minutes from our January 25th meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Burmeister, a second by Klug. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon, motion carries.
Okay, and now we have, we're going to get 4 reports. The first one's going to be from Tammy Steensma, who's our Juvenile Services Director. Tammy.
Threw me off being first.
Ladies are always first.
I guess it's up here. So just real quickly for our numbers for January 24 bookings, we did have 7 admissions. Average length of stay still remains a little bit high. Our truancy and tracker program still an all-time high, and 16 in our alternative school. 2 graduates that I just wanted to point out there, and 22 in our reporting center. Just our graph, I wanted to really draw your attention to our medical assessment. 41 medical assessments for 7 juveniles. I had an asthmatic, a diabetic, and also one that had a seizure disorder. So not only are we dealing with a lot of mental health issues, we're dealing with a lot of medical issues too. So of those 7 youth, I just wanted to draw your attention to 39 total meds. So we did have one youth that came in with 15 different meds upon intake. And then that becomes an issue, not an issue, but just some time that our medical staff have to go through, as well as our psychiatrists and our APRN to go through those meds. So just a lot of medical issues and a lot of mental health issues. And then every one of the youth that we had in detention, all of them were on some type of mental health watch. And nothing new to report in our counties that we're serving. Still the same counties, haven't added anybody yet so far this year. Just wanted to give a quick update on the luggage request. If you remember back in December, I asked the community for luggage for our youth that are leaving upon discharge. They don't have to have their items in a garbage bag, so to speak. And the community outpour was just amazing. So we finally had to kind of put a halt on things. We didn't have any more room to store the items, but the public just came out and really supported the youth. And so I know the youth like that when they are leaving, they know that somebody does care about them. So it has been a great program that we've been able to implement at the Justice Center.
Great.
Any questions?
Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Community Corrections Director, Jake Burst.
Good afternoon. Excuse me. All right, for the month of January, we had 6 new placements on house arrest, saving 110 total jail beds. We didn't have any new admissions for work release. We did have 1 new RAP participant. I think I touched a little bit on that at the last meeting. That's our first one since COVID, which is pretty exciting to get the door back open for that. It's a nonviolent felony DUI offender who's just been kind of stuck in jail on a bond that he can't make, taking advantage of the services that he can get over at the Reentry Assistance Program. 24 new offenders placed on pretrial release during the month of January. 1 of those was out of Cass County. 220 total pretrial release participants for the month. And there are our month-end, year-to-date total, 31 placements, 229 participants, 55 screenings, just shy of 600 jail beds saved. I meant to include this in the last report, as we submit quarterly reports for the grant that funds our mental health case management program, but I think I was just so focused on the year-to-end stuff that I completely forgot to include it. But we had 15 new program participants during the 4th quarter of for our mental health case management program. 46 total people were served during that time. Just some of our statistics for pretrial release. We screened 40 people last month. Of those 40, 10 were not placed on pretrial release, but the court did release them on their own recognizance, and then 24 placements on pretrial release. Our electronic monitoring statistics, which remain pretty high. Our GPS numbers went down a little bit, and then just kind of our charge categories, how people fall into those demographics. So, happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions? Thanks, Jake.
Okay. And actually, I'm sorry, if I could real quick, I wanted to drag her up here. One of our employees, Lois Spethman, she is going into her 29th year with the county. Started in jail maintenance, worked in purchasing, and then she's been with us for about 7 to 8 years. She's going to be retiring next week. She's busy training her replacement, but I know she listens to the meetings, so I just want to thank her for her hard work and service to the county. She's been a huge part of the growth of this department over the last decade, so I just want to say thanks.
Well, you know, Lois she's a great Sarpy County employee.
She is, and I tried to get her to make it an even 30 years, but she's going to bail on us.
Here's a little trivia for you, okay? Lois and I and Fred Huey all grew up on the same street.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
There you go. Now you know.
Well, she hasn't said a bad word about you, I promise.
Well, give her a couple minutes.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Jake. Hey, Ryan's going to update us on adult and also on the correctional center. Ryan, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners, and I also want to thank you all for the core award ceremony yesterday, and thank Dan for that. I can see that being a big deal for our staff to compete for that prestigious award, so thank you. Got some good news to report this month. You see our admissions releases were down, which lowered our average daily population to about 172 inmates, which is good news. We want to stay as low as possible. something I want to call your attention to is the percentage of our population with serious mental illness. That's decreased to about 12% of our population. We're kind of working on our data collection system, so I can't prove it, but anecdotally, what I would attribute that to is our efforts. I don't know if Commissioner Klug, if you recall, at the Human Capital Committee, we said if we make this reentry coordinator a full-time position, we focus on the reentry planning, the discharge planning, that's going to save the county a lot of money in the long term. And I think you're starting to see that here, where we're getting the resources lined up for people that are discharged, and we're making those appointments with providers in the community. When we stand up our behavioral health facility, I think you'll see this kind of chart and graph throughout the county. We want our behavioral health unit to support the sheriff's office, county attorney's office, the public defender's office, our facility, and community corrections, the juvenile justice center. Just total will be the kind of support system for every area in Sarpy County. So I think, like I said, and when I brag about something like this, it always backfires, and then next month the chart will probably point the other way. But just really proud of that effort. Lauren Jayton is our reentry coordinator, and she's just doing a wonderful job, her and Joe, about getting the programming. We introduced moral recognition therapy this month, which is a non-clinical program, but it's CBT, cognitive behavioral based, and helps people with their decision-making process. And again, we'll kind of see some of that impact and hopefully just our regular recidivism data, but we're just kind of getting to where we're establishing baselines with our data. We brought in a new technology system, so we're kind of learning with that, so we're a little bit behind, but again, I expect you to see similar numbers. The other announcement is we took our first step in the accreditation process for our new facility. And what that is we established a policy for how we establish policy. And so that kind of sounds
Good
like
government.
Yes, yes. But it's how you cite ACA standards, how you cite Nebraska jail standards, how you cite state statutes. We reviewed the state statutes, and we have to comply with all those procedures, PREA standards, etc. So we're off to a good start. Linda Dean is our new risk assessment and compliance manager. She came up to us from the Juvenile Justice Center, so we're going to make a lot of progress, getting a lot of information, a lot of documents out there. This first policy covers 4 ACA standards. We've got 384 standards that we need to comply with. 62 of those are mandatory, so to get accredited, you have to be 100% compliant with all 62 of the 322 non-compliant or non-mandatory standards. Non-mandatory standards, you have to be 90% or better compliant with those, and I would expect us to be in the high 90s there with that. But it's a very long process, anticipating that maybe, the fall of 2024, we're asking for a visiting committee to come out and audit our facility. And I'll be happy to answer questions about the existing facility before we go to the new. Okay? Let's see if I can get down there. Okay, and so you can see this, and I'm sure as you've driven by that there's a lot of activity on the site. This week they've set all the cells that are in our precast on our first and second floors. All the steel cells are on the third floor. The walls are going to start going in, the precast walls on the south side, that 370 side of the facility. They'll put the roof on and close it in about 2 weeks. Weather will not be a factor for that facility. So they've only had about 10 weather delays. And with the weather we're having right now, I don't see anything slowing them down and us being on target for December 2022. Beth got us a new address for a facility. It's going to be 1206 Golden Gate Drive. And OPPD has got a permanent power source on the site right now. And like I said, everything, there's nothing that is a big concern for us. As far as the construction process, we're kind of in the last call for changes for any electrical, data lines, or plumbing, and so we're focusing on that. I know Commissioner Kelly's asked about the signage, and that's coming up. That's an area that we're going to start focusing on as well. But be happy to answer any questions if there are any about the new institution. Okay.
Questions?
Thank you all. Thanks.
Thanks, Ryan.
It's
Thank you. Really starting to look good, huh?
It's looking fantastic. We're very excited. It's enormous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you can see it as soon as you over a mile away on 370 in any direction.
Very proud of that.
Good.
Yep.
Okay. All the agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Corrections is adjourned. And we'll jump back into our county board meeting that we recessed at 3:33 with item 7.1.
For the protection of the public interest, I move we go into executive session to discuss litigation.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Burmeister and a second by Commissioner Kluge to go into executive session. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, absent Mixon.
Okay, it's now 3:47. We're going to go into executive session.
It takes this thing a minute.
What's that?
If you can see how we go before she pushes her.
Can she see that now?
Mics are live.
She's like,
You guys are live.
I
That's
looked
it.
over there to make sure.
Tom
Yep,
Richard.
I vote the
okay,
opposite.
we're live.
Tom.
Tom used to sit right where the thing corners there.
Oh, really?
All right.
Yep, he did. That was funny. Kind of.
Yeah.
You can go.
We're good to go then.
Okay, good. Okay. It's now 5:04 at 3:46. We went into executive session where our discussion was restricted to litigation. Need a motion to return to the regular session.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Warren, second by Burmeister. Discussion? Please vote.
Ayes 4, nays none.
Okay, all agenda items having been addressed as published, the Board of Commissioners is adjourned.
Okay.
See you, Dave.
Are you coming here? Yeah. Okay, good. I didn't want to chase you down the hall.